That's me, Tacoma Comics Live, trying to block the glare. Says you don't have to stare, so I can do it like that, but then you don't see my whole face. It's all kind of weird trying to get that glare out of here. So we'll figure it out. The lights are supposed to be behind me, facing the other way, but if I sit on the other side of the table, it's going to take me like an hour to figure it out. So I ain't even going to bother, yo. How's everybody doing? This is Emerald City Comic Con Day 2, third day of the con, but I didn't go Thursday. If you want to know why, watch last night's recap. I'm not going to recap the recap. But I'll tell you what, I'm exhausted, and I had a freaking great day. It was so much fun. I used to look at Comic Cons, and I'll be honest here. I used to look at them, and I used to be like, oh, man, it's not about comics. It's just all this other related and then like only partially related stuff. And I think that's fine, but why not call it a pop con or a pop culture con or whatever? And that's just a shitty attitude to have. So I apologize for that. And the reason why that hit home today was because I brought my son with me, and the fun he had. And he bought, I bought because he forgot his money this morning. I bought him one graphic novel, but he was just looking at art and art and art and art, and he was into his role-playing games, and he was into all this different stuff. And for him, it's a totally different experience, but he still had an amazing time. So the two of us together just really, really killed it today. And if you're going to a con, and it's a big con, it's New York City or Chicago or Emerald City, you've got a plan, but you've also got to understand you cannot do it all. You cannot do it all in one day. You cannot do it all in 3 days. It's just impossible. There's too much to do to get it all done in a short period of time. So I would really suggest just, less is more. So let me tell you a little bit about my day before I get to books. I got stacks of books here to show you. We got there. Oh my gosh, the time it took me to drive there and back today was shorter than the time it took me to go just one direction yesterday. So we got there super, super early, like 7:50 or something. Doors don't open till 10, but you can go inside the convention center just to like stand outside the lines, stand outside the actual show, but not outside the building. So we had some crepes. They have this little sidewalk street vendor food. We had some really good crepes. I had a fig and apple crepe, and he had a dark chocolate and like whipped cream and raspberry sauce crepe. So that was breakfast. And that was a lot of fun. And we went inside, milled around. But then the first thing we had to do was go. He wanted to go to the Critical Role panel. And if you're not familiar with Critical Role, it's one of these probably not one of these. It's probably like the premier online live action role playing game. A group of 9 people do Dungeons and Dragons, and they're huge within the community. I mean, like absolutely huge. So that was at 10 at the Hyatt Regency, which is like a 4-block walk away from the convention center. So we walked there first before even going into the show. We got there at 9:30, and the place was packed. We were sitting way far back, but there was still plenty of rows behind us. When it filled up by like 9:45, there were 10,000. Sorry, 10,000. There were 2,000 people in there, even though the show didn't start till 10:45. So we had an hour to wait. Hold on a second. Check the chat. This is Ice Cold Productions, Lego Creations, and more. Wow, that's a name. I was thinking about going to Emerald City, but I only go because I want to meet someone or get something signed. I don't buy anything because it's too expensive. Most of this stuff is expensive. You're absolutely right, man. It was hard to find bargains. It takes time to find bargains. Most people there to make a buck and not to like sell their collection cheap. That is definitely true. So yeah, they had people in the crowd. Oh, by the way, welcome, Ice Cold. They had people work in the crowd, a DJ and a lady who was announcing. She was really funny, and they were just having people do voices and for like little prizes and stuff. And then the guys came on and they did a little introduction, and they've got this Kickstarter that earned like several million. They were going for like 300,000, earned several million. So they're doing an animation series. Everybody's excited about that. My son's going crazy. He's yelling stuff in the audience. And then they start doing like the panel. It's just basically just questions. So, my son ran up, got in line, and he asked about, I mean, maybe like 20 people got to do questions. He was like 16th or 17th, so he was lucky to get picked. But yeah, he got to ask his question. He asked about what to do if you've got too many people in trying to join your campaign because he runs a Dungeons and Dragons club at home, um, not at home at school, and he's got like 10 people to show up, and it's really tough. So Matt Mercer was like, that's the guy who's in charge of Critical Role. He was like, yeah, that's a really good question. And he started talking about strategies and stuff, which is kind of cool. Bueller, I know you had some important stuff to do, but just Emerald City without you is weird, my friend. Um, but congratulations, man. That's really awesome. You Jordan won. That took the whole thing. That was cool. So yeah, I'm talking about recap a little bit and just what's going on. So thanks for joining us. So yeah, the Critical Role thing was just huge, and people like afterwards noticed my son and were like going up to him and stuff. And he's young, and but he's got kind of got my lack of shyness, so he's chatting up with everybody and going on and stuff. So then we went and got some books signed. Went back over to the convention center, walked around a little bit, and had a little bit of lunch, and then time goes like that. And all of a sudden, at 2:45, I was supposed to get a signature with Noelle Stevenson, who wrote Nimona and was one of the originators and original writers in Lumberjanes, and now she's the executive producer of the new She-Ra and the Princess of Power show. And I really wanted to get some Lumberjane stuff signed, but I forgot to bring it. So I was going to see if they had stuff to sell there. But I went over to the room, and it was like everybody, I guess you didn't win a time slot. You just won the lottery to get a signing with her. So everybody's there at 2:45. The line was massive. And at 3 o'clock, we had something else to do. So we just skipped it. Yeah, definitely see you at Rose City next year, Bueller. I think my wife actually really enjoys Portland. So it's a good family trip. So we went right to the Hamilton. There's a Hamilton sing along, and if you don't get Hamilton, then I can't explain to you. My son is a fanatic. He loves it. And so just going there in the room of like 200 people, everybody singing the soundtrack. That's all it was. We got through like 3 or 4 songs, and then we had to leave because I know it sounds like a short day. We had to go back to Hyatt Regency because my mom had bought my son for his birthday a picture and a signature with Matt Mercer, the guy from Critical Role. So he got those done. So basically, we were convention center, Hyatt Regency, convention center, walk around, do some stuff, back to Hyatt Regency, waiting in line for the autograph on floor 3, then up to floor 5 for a picture, waiting in line, and then back to the convention center. His Fitbit said he had 15,000 steps today, and now he's tired. And I'm like, I didn't get too many signatures. I still want to go back in. And he's like, okay. So, he's 11. And when 11-year-old says, okay, that's when you're like, you got to think about it. He's like, my legs hurt. So we get online, and they cut down the security booth. So there are only 2. And the line is like 8 people in line. And I look down, my son is on his knees because he's trying to rest his feet. That's the signal that your son's about to have a meltdown. And you need to get the fuck out of there, excuse my language, and go somewhere else. So we went out and got some tacos, and he kind of perked right up. So I think he was hungry too. And I'm like, look, it's 6 o'clock. The place closes in an hour. Can we just run back in and see what signatures we can get? And he's like, sure. So we went back in, and I got at least twice as many as I had earlier. So without any further ado, let's go take a look at these books, man. Ben Templesmith on 10 Grand, written by J. Michael Straczynski, and this little exclamation remark. A great comic if you haven't read it. It's a 12-issue series. I'm excited to finish it. I've got issues 1 through 6. This is one of the few things that I bought. If you look in the chat, Ice Cold Productions is talking about how it's not worth buying stuff. This is Monstrous number 2. And it was $15, which is about what it should be. And so I was pretty excited. And Sana Takitas, I got her to sign it for me. She wasn't the one selling it. It was another booth that sold it. But I was really excited because she was so kind, so sweet, really nice lady. I asked her how long it takes her to do one of these, because if you've ever read it, it's like so detailed. She says it takes her about 4 months to draw one issue. And I'm like, yeah, I believe that. So I was really excited to get that. That was one of my first purchases, and then one of my last signatures. So that was really cool. Monsters number 2. It's just an amazing series if you haven't read it yet. I already had Marguerite Bennett on this, so then I got her to sign this copy. The artist was there, but I missed her, so I got to bring this back tomorrow. That goes into a different pile. Um, I got Jeremy Hahn's signature on Realm and on this really cool Realm variant, which is really cool. I was excited for that. I got mags on this crazy. This Quantum Teams or Go is okay, but this one is just an insane cover. So this girl is this punk rock chick has got the skateboard and a wrench in her hand, and so that's everything to me right there. Skateboard and a wrench. I mean, fishnets and blue and yellow hair, combat boots, skateboard and a wrench. It's just awesome. Um, I got Mike Deodato on this X23 cover, and it came out really nicely in the silver there. Super psyched about that. Little bit, it looks like the pen was getting a little bit light, but for such a great artist, he did not have a patch booth, which is pretty cool. While I was talking to Mags, who was next to Mike, Zach Davidson came over, and he just wanted to introduce himself to Mags. I guess he's never met her before, but they've got connections somehow. And so I just grabbed my Wayward. I'm like, I brought it out. He goes, "Oh, I know that comic. I write that comic." And so he does some of the back matter on this and some of the research for the Japanese monsters. So I got him to sign this, and then later on I found Jim Zub, who signed it. So Zach Davidson signed it here. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark, but he also had the cat say some words in Japanese, which is cool. And then Jim Zub's signature there. So it's kind of psyched about that. And I actually tracked down Jim at a different booth because he wasn't at his booth. I got him on Champions, which was really cool. Jim's voice sounded like mine, but worse. Mine's because it's the end of soccer season, and I've been yelling at my team a lot. Because he's on the third day of a con, and cons are brutal. For me, they're brutal. I can't imagine how brutal they are for a creator that's there. So then I got back in line with Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey, and that was the longest line of the day, and I'd been there twice yesterday. So I got Kieran's signature above his name there. He just is this K zoom an exclamation point. I got him on another copy of die number 1, third printing, which is pretty cool. You'll notice there's a theme. I've got a lot of those. Kieran Gillen did this little remark on Dr. Afro, which is kind of cool. Now, I didn't know this, and I've got more of these I got to bring back. This is die number 1, the cover B, and so McKelvey did this cover. So McKelvey signed it there, and Kieran did a little die with a happy face on there, which is kind of cool. This is the one I bought yesterday. This was the die third printing of number 1. So I got Kieran Gillen to sign that down here. Would have liked a different color so you could see it better, but it's there, believe me. Then I got his signature on Dr. Afra. First appearance is Darth Vader number 3. Dr. Afra, first appearance in Darth Vader number 3. Second printing. Dr. Afra, first appearance in Darth Vader number 3. First printing. So I got like 3 number 1 first printings and 1 second printing of that. Phonogram from again McKelvey and Gillen right there. Pretty cool. And then Afua Richardson, who is dressed like one of the Dora Milaje. She looked like just like Okoye. Really cool. She does the art in this World of Wakanda, number 1. So she signed in gold right here. I thought that was pretty cool. So things that I didn't get signed. Ooh, missing one, but I'll show it to you later. This is a stack that I didn't get signed yet. And 2 of these tick me off, right? The line for Kate's was nothing, but I don't think it's done. I don't know if he chooses to do it or if he's got representation. Anybody who's in row 8 Emerald City, you get 1 free signing, and then they charge for the rest of them, right? So I didn't get this signed, and I'd love to have a signature on that. I didn't get that signed. I might go back tomorrow and pay for them, but $5, I'll get one of these signed for free. Hopefully they won't remember that I was there yesterday. But it kind of annoys me that the line was a snap. But what I did get though, and this is why I still like Donny Cates. He's starting this thing called, a little tongue-in-cheek, Devil's Advocates, and it says, "Read comics, do dope shit." And on the back, he signed it. So this card certifies that you are an official. Hey, Discovery Bay, I've been discovered. You're an official member of the Devil's Advocates. Your commandments are as follows: make something exist that did not exist before. Love yourself and each other. Only do dope shit. Read comics, and I can't see it under signature. Be good, maybe. I don't know. So I thought that was kind of cool, and that came with a shirt, which I'm going to have to go back and return tomorrow because I got an extra large, and it's fine around the tummy. Actually makes my man boob stick out though. It's a little tight up top, so I'm going to get a double XL. But I thought that was pretty cool. And so the idea he had, and this is a great marketing idea. $25 for the t-shirt, which is a little high, but he's not printing 20,000 of them. He's printing 100, hoping to sell them. You get your card, but with this card, you will then be able to go ahead and get special variants from him at shows in the future that only card members can get. So that was kind of a cool marketing gimmick. Like I said, here's a stack of books that I did not get signed. I didn't get to Jason Latour. I didn't get to David Finch. I didn't get to Mirko Andolfo. I want to get Alex Maleev on this one, where Charles Soule wrote, "Stay smooth." Proud pages, right? And we were talking about that earlier. So let me show you some of the stuff that I purchased. So this, I think, was my best deal of the show for sure. This is the variant to Marvel Point One. This is the first appearance of Sam Alexander as Nova. And this one they had, I think, at $14, which I thought was a pretty good deal on that. I don't think you're going to find it much cheaper than $14 anywhere. And then, just checking on comics. I got 2 copies of the regular. I think they were $6 and $4. I'm not sure why. I thought I saw like the $4 one had a little dirt somewhere, but I can't actually see it. Yeah, one of them has a little bit of dirt next to the O. So I thought that was pretty cool that they marked this down. So I thought that was a pretty, if you ever see Sam Alexander show up in MC or stuff, these will take off a bit. So I was pretty excited for that. I thought that was a good deal. This is actually what I got Kate's to sign, was Interceptor, because I had gotten this. When did I get this? I think, I found this in Half Price Books, and it has the artist's name on it already. Up here, Dylan Burnett, and came with a COA. And so then got Donnie to sign it down here. This is actually a really fun comic. He wrote this for Heavy Metal Magazine. And that's pretty darn cool. I totally dig this. It's a good read. I want to pick up, see if there's a trade and pick it up. It's not his earliest work, but it's earlier than Donny Cates. This one blew me away when I saw this. This is the same place I found the Monsters for 15. I love the Saya Ghost variants, but I'd never seen the Hawkeye one. And I looked at this and I was like, oh my gosh. And this was only, I want to say $10. I think it was $10. And I think that's totally worth it. What did get me though, behind this one, they had the sketch. It's the same exact thing, but just black and white sketch variant. And right next to this one, they had the Miss Marvel one. I'm like, do you have any of the Miss Marvel black and whites? And he's like, no. But then I saw the black and white behind the Hawkeye. And for some reason, he's got these up top, right? He's got like almost an archway into his little booth. And he's actually got comics up there. So I reached up and started to pull the Miss Marvel out to see if there's a black and white one behind. And of course, the Miss Marvel was behind another book. So as I reached, all the other books fell. I was like, I'm that guy. I'm being that guy now. It's time to go. So yeah. Yeah, Joe, some people got better luck with that stuff. All New Wolverine, number 18, the Venomized variant. That's all that really matters. I don't even know who does that cover, but it's my second copy of that. I kind of like that one. He had that for $5. I thought it was pretty good. Didn't know much about this next comic, but White Whale. asked me to pick it up for him, and he said he thinks it's a pretty hot comic, so I got a copy for myself. This is I think it's a convention exclusive. Little Bird from Image. I don't know much about it, um, but somebody says, "Hey, this is good. Try it out." I say, "Okay." Um, I know this is a variant cover. I don't know if this is. Oh yeah, so it says convention exclusive. It doesn't say like Emerald City, so they probably sell it at every convention. They probably have another 1,000 going to C2E2 next week. So I'm not like thinking, oh my gosh, I got the only one ever, but it's still pretty cool. So White Whale, I got you one of those. Um, this next one I think was stupid of me, right? Um, I already had one of these and I sold it. And Emerald City, like they have this listed with their store merchandise, and they say, Emerald City Comicon exclusive, Magic Order #1. I think they call this the Leviathan variant, or I think I call it the Leviathan variant. I don't know if anybody else does. So anyway, um, it says Reed Pop. That's the company that makes that puts on Emerald City, and they put on C2E2, and they put on a whole bunch of other stuff. So they're basically taking a 3.99 book. They're putting Reed Pop on. They're calling it a convention exclusive, and they're selling it for $5. And I bought two. Why did I do that? No, seriously, I'm asking you. I don't know. Like that was my dumbest purchase. If getting those first Sam Alexanders were my best purchase, and that beautiful Hawkeye was a good deal, and that monstrous #2 for 15 was basically paying what it is worth, I don't know why I got this. Thank you, Discovery, for checking in. Appreciate it. Have a good night, bud. Um, I saw Jackson Lansing, who I really kind of dig as an author. And he's done some cool stuff with Marcus Toe. And so I asked him, hey, what else do you have? And he had these 4 comics, selling for 15, which I now realize is a ripoff because they're $3 each. But anyway, Gotham City Garage is supposed to be badass motorcycle girls. Basically, is the way he described it to me. Is taking all the bad the females villains in DC Universe, make them into a badass motorcycle gang. I said, it sounds like a decent concept. I didn't really look, kind of caught me off guard with, well, we're selling these in packs. So these aren't even in the best of shape, but whatever. I helped out a creator. Hopefully it'll be a fun read. He signed the first one for me. Nothing much there. Last thing I want to highlight for you guys, those girls are bad. Apparently they are. I really like Man Eaters, and it's a really well written comic by Chelsea Kane. And I got Chelsea Kane and Leah Martinique to sign it, even though it doesn't look like it says Leah. And I saw her, and it was her who signed it. And then somewhere else, it was signed by I think Chelsea Kane's daughter or one of her daughter's friends does some of the interior artwork, so they signed it here. And then I saw Chelsea Kane tweet a couple days ago, like there's artwork in the back of these that's all done by this middle school girl, and I think, is this it? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, it's all done by this middle school girl, and it's pretty good. And she's like, her stuff will be at the con. You should stop by and buy it. I'm like, okay. So I asked for it, and the girl was there, and she was really cool, and she had a binder full of stuff, and she was marking it down like everything was half off. I'm like, dude, don't do that. It's not even Sunday. Be proud of your artwork. Sell it. So this is nothing earth shattering. It was just $5. Her name is Stella Greenvoss, by the way. Hit her up on Instagram at loneliest.robot. But the reason I got this little print here, it doesn't look like much, but it says Pock Pock right here. I don't know if Bueller's still here, if he's ever been to Pock Pock. When we go to Portland, and we'd go to Portland from Tacoma like 3-4 times a day, we 3-4 times a year, we drive down for a little weekend trip. Pock Pock is on our list of like must go to places. It's basically Vietnamese street food in a restaurant, and it's amazing and spicy and yummy and smells good and so incredible. And just so I actually got that for my wife. I always try to come back from a convention with something for my wife, so she's a little less angry at all the time I'm spending. Today wasn't bad because I took one kid with me, right? So it wasn't like she had both kids with her. But when she's got both kids with her, that's when like I get the guilt. I feel guilty. But anyway, that was pretty cool. Along with that and that Man Eaters number 4, they just had a poster here, which I will always take free posters. Um, I shouldn't because I don't have any room for them, but I take them. Uh, yeah, so definitely. I mean, if you like, um, I don't want to say Asian food because Asia is like the big freaking continent with a couple billion people. If you like Vietnamese food, you like spicy food, you like street food, definitely try it out. Bueller is really cool. Um, yeah, I gave a couple bucks for free stuff, Biggie, because there was I don't know if you guys have heard about the Art Institute of Seattle. It's a art college that closed down 2 months before graduation, and tons of people are without. Sorry, Joe. Tons of people that went there like can't graduate now, even though they like had gone there for 3 or 4 years because the school is a private school and it just closed. So they actually had a booth at the con where they're just like, "We need money. We'll do a sketch for money." Um, so yeah, that was it. That's my con wrap up. I wanted to do this live, man. I got 11 people in here. So, I mean, Joe and Biggie Shack and Bueller and who else is here? Those seem to be the ones talking. I really appreciate you guys being here. Um, that's pretty cool to have you all here. Thanks for letting me share and get this off my chest. Because if I tried to like edit a video with all this stuff at the end of the weekend, I'd go crazy. So I'm going back tomorrow. I'm going to meet Seeking Nearment Comics, and I'm hoping to go leave here at 7, get there at 8. Doors open at 10. 10 to 12, 10 to 11, 10 to 1 maybe, and then head on home. I just want to just machine tomorrow, get the book signed that I need to get signed, and then come on back. And that's kind of all that I'm about. So wish me luck. Hope you guys doing well. Get a good night's sleep because it's getting late. And who else is in here? Discovery Bay already left, and Ice Cold Productions. Thanks for being here. Unless anybody's got any questions. Big books. Hey, Biggies, I got your box the other day. Um, yeah, I didn't get any big books. I wasn't out to buy any big books, and I'll tell you, the con is not the place to buy big books. I mean, you want big books now, you got to go to like the kind of like the flea markets or like the smaller cons where it's just, or even like around here, they've got a place where people rent out like a floor in the local Hilton Tacoma and like 20 vendors go and sell books. But you go to Emerald City and even like my LCS is there. Yeah, they did, Biggie. Thank you. Um, and he's selling books like, G.I. Joe 21, he had for like $90 or something, and I like my LCS a lot, but his his books were priced for a con and people go there with money and it's just not worth it. So tell me what Frankenstein is, Bueller. So yeah, I'm not about buying big books at cons. I'm really about saving up and either getting a deal at the home of the New York Warriors auction or the Comicon auction or All About Comics auction. I mean, there's just auctions galore. You can hit eBay. I can find stuff at half price. If I need a big book that's like established, you're gonna end up paying for it. There's not really anything to snipe at the cons. Like I said, I think getting those Sam Alexander's for I this is not a big book. This is a minor key, but I think for the price I paid, $10 for the two of these, that's pretty darn good. And then another 14 for the variant. I think that's actually pretty good, to be honest with you. And I got all those die number ones signed by Kieran Gillen, which is really cool. Bueller, send me a message with where and when, or can I look that up? That sounds really good. Amazing Annual number 1. That's what you're on the lookout for. It sounds like a good project. All right, guys, I got a beer to finish. I got books to pack away. Then I got to get ready for tomorrow. So I am definitely going to leave you now, but leave you a little something, something. And I will talk to you later. Take care, everyone.